Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Charging Status podcast. He's Alex, I'm Jim, and we're joined today by the man, the myth, the legend that is Jerome Andre. How you doing, Jerome?
Hi, everyone. Very good, very good. It's good to see you guys.
Yeah, great to see you. Jerome's a buddy of mine, and we met. I did a video at Fellten in Bristol, probably, what was it, a couple of months ago now? A few months ago.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and had a look at the facility there. Massively interesting business. If you want to go and check out the video to that, I'm sure Alex will drop a link in the show notes. But Fellten does everything EV related. So conversion kits for minis. Obviously, we had a little bit of fun in the Mr. Bean electric mini. EV conversion kits for boats. The Charge Cube, which is really a very exciting piece of kit. And of course, Chris at Fellten's got his Hazelnuts channel where they do all sorts of crazy madness that's all EV related. So I met Jerome there, and we've just become buddies really. And Jerome's got a really fascinating CV and can probably open your eyes, as he did with me, to the whole world of like EV modification, EV conversions, restorations of classic cars, but with an EV instead of an old combustion engine. And it's super exciting. I'm just going to give you the highlights of Jerome's sort of current involvement in things. Obviously, he's doing some work on the Hazelnuts channel. Then the Outrun YouTube channel is probably one we'll talk about at a bit more length. That's really interesting. Outrun is just a fantastic channel to subscribe to, where you'll meet loads of interesting people involved in the modified EV scene and conversion scene. And then you've got the EV Builder's Guide, Tesla Trends. Jerome's been on VimWiki as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's a bucket list for everyone.
Where do we start?
In the car world? I don't know. I'd also mention Jerome is in Bristol, and you will notice he's got a very strong Bristol accent. So...
So that's harsh.
But yeah, so Jerome, how you doing?
I'm doing very good, very good. And yeah, good introduction. You've covered almost everything I do with the teams. But yeah, so in a nutshell, supporting Fellten on the marketing, PR, and social media aspect of it. And it's a fantastic area to be working with. When I joined Fellten about 2.5 years ago, it was then called Zero EV. It was just a rebranding of the company because the company back then was focusing on converting classic cars, or delivering actually classic car systems to support the industry to convert classic cars all over the globe. So for people that are not familiar with what a conversion is, it means removing the drivetrain of a classic petrol or diesel car, van, truck, you name it, and making it electric. It has many advantages. It's not for everyone, but if you like or love driving your classic car and you want to daily drive it, it's the best option. And the funny thing is, a lot of people that once have converted their classic car, say classic Mini, classic 911, and so on, they tend, typically it will be like a toy, or it will be like this their second or third car, but they end up driving them every single day just because it's so much fun, it's reliable, it works every day. Every time you leave home, it's fully topped up, and you get the best of both worlds, really. You get the iconic classic look of a Mini, Rolls-Royce, Mustang, but you get all the power and torque from a modern technology that works and also doesn't pollute at all.
Yeah, fantastic. And I mean, with some of those classic cars as well, you know, the powertrain was the weak point, and the amount of them, especially in the US, where the first thing people do is pull the engine and stick a crate motor in.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And there's just such a great opportunity there to do something different.
So originally, the conversion to EV industry, or community, I should say, would gather parts from different cars, say battery modules from a Tesla Model S, and then a motor from something else, and would, make something work. But nowadays, the industry has grown so much, you can buy off-the-shelf custom design and engineered systems that just bolt on, plug in. So it is the case with the Mini you test drove, same thing for the 911. classic Defenders and many other platforms. And as you mentioned, also the marine industry is taking over, using more and more electric systems. So Fellten manufactures battery packs for this industry. So they are brand new boats, but they are electric rather than being just a big diesel or big petrol engine.
Yeah, which is really surprising, actually. That's somewhere I didn't expect to see EV making an impact, really, was in the marine industry. But obviously, if it could, then fantastic.
Well, if you're in a nice marina on the French Riviera and you see oil on top of the waves, it doesn't really make it so nice. So that's a great option for marinas and smaller range boats. Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Which brings another issue or solution is to have electricity to charge those boats in marinas. And that's where the charge cube you mentioned brings a solution. It's a recycled EV batteries all put together in a big cube, a container with chargers in which you can charge obviously your boats, but you can obviously charge anything, cars and so on. So a lot of things happening in the industry, from nice, fun, classic car converted to electric to changing the game in the way people charge their EVs, like their OEM EV. So exciting times, and I'm glad you visited because, as you said, once you've seen it, you understand how much is happening. But I was just like yourself. The first time I visited Zero EV, now Fellten, I felt it was going to be like two guys in a shed, and then it's a huge building with 35 people working non-stop every day to make things happen. So yeah, quite exciting time. And there's so much more going in the background that's not revealed yet. So I look forward to seeing you there in maybe 6 months' time.
Yeah, great. Yes, I really. Another thing that's great there is the training aspect, and I mentioned it in the video. I've mentioned it several times since, but there are so many motor traders, garage owners in the UK that have a business that at some point is going to start to dry up, and certainly they're not making the most of their existing business right now because. The amount of them that you call up for any kind of work on an EV, and it's no, we can't work on EVs. And
Jim, it's not just EVs. Any modern hybrid, anything over 48 volt is considered high voltage. So, in a traditional workshop, if no one has been trained for high voltage systems, they are not allowed or covered to touch them. Meaning, even if you need to replace a fog light on an SUV that's 3 years old, which is a hybrid, like they're not even allowed to touch it, let alone do some body work or repair on them. So any shop needs to have at least one member of the team trained. It takes a day and a half to be high voltage trained, and then you know what to touch and what not to touch. And it's not rocket science. It's just you learn the basic safety of a high voltage system. Yeah, you don't need to service every single component of it, but if you need to, you will learn. And there's several level 1, 2, 3, 4, and definitely you need level 2, which again takes a day and a half.
Sure. Yeah.
So going back a little bit, what was the first vehicle that you had a hand in converting to electric?
Well, that's a funny thing. I'm lucky enough to probably have tested and driven the most EV conversion vehicle in the world, because covering all the individual and company converted classic around the world pretty much. The magazine is based in America, but I've covered content all over the place. I've tested from big trucks to minis to Cadillacs converted to electric, because the good thing is those cars have been from the 40s. I've even been in a Daimler, so I think it was a 1927 or 29 Daimler, so it goes from over almost a century of a vehicle being converted. Specialists typically don't convert modern cars because at some point it doesn't make sense, or it requires too much technology inputs, but anything from the 50s to the late 70s can easily be converted and made more fun, more power, more torque. Everything you love in a V8 outside of the noise, I know. Yeah. Everything you love in a V8, which is torque and power, you get from an electric drivetrain, and you get it from standstill. So if you floor it, you're going to burn out every single time. And there's no gearbox. Like if you want to keep a manual gearbox, you can, but it is typically a more old school way of converting classic, where you would put like a forklift motor connected to the original gearbox and make it work. Nowadays there are options, so you don't even need to bother with this, and you obviously it's more efficient. There's less losses.
Yeah.
So yes, if you want, you can have a 600 horsepower classic Mini, but if you want to just cruise around in a Caddy, you just have like a 300 horsepower Caddy, and you bring your friends and you cruise around by the beach in California. So yeah. So going back to your question, probably a US truck was the first one I tested as electric back in the days. Yeah.
Nice.
It's funny because the industry or community is not that old. Like 10 years ago, not many people were doing conversion because the battery technology was not really there. So, like no one had access to energy dense batteries to repurpose or even buy off the shelf. But obviously for the last 5-6 years, it's just been booming. And now it's more popular. All the traditional media in the car world have converted to electric classics. Companies are complete business around them, from the UK to America to Dubai, Australia. It's all over the place. In Morocco recently, they've just been converting Toyota Hiluxes, which is not a vehicle they convert for fun, is because they do need solution. There you've got the mining industry looking for, again, Toyota Land Cruisers electrics. So it's way easier to run an electric pickup in mines than it is using diesel. Yeah. And there's several companies again in the US converting bigger platforms like box lorries, big trucks, and who knows how far it will go. Yeah.
The actual like modification scene in the US as well seems to be a thing, almost like we saw here in the 90s with the Japanese cars and things. Obviously that went over to the US, but it's now this huge scene for like modified Teslas and things, which obviously you cover on the YouTube channel.
Yeah, so it's very interesting. And about the US car industry and aftermarket industry in general, I've been involved with the SEMA and the SEMA show for about 18 years. And last 5 years, the show has dedicated a complete area for converted to electric cars, and also more and more on the EV aspect of it. So as you said, modified Teslas and other brands. But the thing is, I feel especially modified OEM EVs, they're just becoming part of the car ecosystem. So you will have a wheel specialist that will use ICE cars and electric cars next to each other to display their new product. It's just part of what the car market is. But yeah, the conversion to electric is booming in America, in the UK, in Australia, and again in North Africa also. Europe is a bit tricky because of regulations, but otherwise, it's just booming. And because in the US you can pretty much drive anything as long as it has brake lights.
Yeah.
You're good to go.
Do you feel that EV is more broadly accepted in the US, or is it very regional? I mean, I've spent a fair amount of time in California since EV was around. In California, it seems to be fairly well accepted. Yeah. But is there that big clash that we have here, where it seems to be you're in one camp or the other, and you'll see, organisations and people and figures kind of prodding the other ones? And
so I'll answer to this, and then I will give you a fun anecdote. But I don't think it's so much each country. It's maybe more some demographics. But in general, people feel like they've been pushed the idea of driving an EV in the UK. And it at some point in the US was also the same, but definitely in the UK. So people are more against what the government is telling them than the technology. Because if they would have been told to, say, use LPG or diesel like 30 years ago, and then you tell them, yeah, well, diesel is not good anymore. You have to try something else. Try this. And it happens to be electric. That's why they're not so happy with it. But once you actually drive an electric car, why change? For daily driving, It doesn't. It's the best thing. And going back to the anecdote I was going to mention, I just spent 5 days on the Isle of Man on a supercar rally.
Mhm.
So all those guys, they just love their supercars, and I must admit I was also in a supercar as a passenger, as a co-driver. But the thing is, when we had lunch, when we had dinner, most of those guys, they daily drive Porsche Taycan, Teslas, and they have EVs. And they love both because, again, 5 years ago, you would have asked them, they would not even want to hear about EVs.
Yeah.
But once you've tried them, obviously, as a business owner, it just makes sense to also run an EV, especially in the UK. In the US, there are some incentives. But as a daily driver, it's just fantastic. You plug it home, you plug it at work, at your place of work. It's just dead easy. And the technology now, the range offered by cars, especially in the UK, which is a relatively small country, like why would you want 600 miles of range when you're actually going to drive 250 mile max every day? And I drive a lot around the UK or even in the US, and it's never been a problem. Another anecdote, last year with the Out of Spec Studio team, we went across the US like a gumball style. So we had 4 electric trucks, which was the Rivian R1T, the Cybertruck, the GM electric, like I can't remember, it's called Avalanche maybe, the big Silverado EV, sorry.
Oh, yeah.
And the Ford F-150. So we left from the coast of Florida all the way down to San Diego in, if I remember correctly, 42 hours. Wow. And the funny thing is, it didn't matter which vehicle you had or the type of recharge, like supercharging network or charging network you use. The 3 first vehicles ended up arriving within an hour. So you can, it was last year, in 2024, you can already go cross country in a pickup truck, drive non-stop, and go across the whole country in less, than 2 days. Which on a car you could also do, obviously, but the technology is already there. The range offered for those trucks is already there, and also the infrastructure is already ready.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, people talk about the range. It's like, well, I can't do a 600-mile trip. And who does a 600-mile trip without stopping for a wee and a coffee and something to eat? And
well, the thing is, you just and especially if you as a family man, if you have kids, you have to stop every 2 hours anyhow.
Yeah.
Top up for 15 minutes, and off you go for another, hour and a half, 2 hours, wherever you need to be. Again, in the UK, if you drive 600 miles, it will take you the best part of the whole day.
Yeah.
But you will go from one end of the country to the other end, which doesn't happen that often.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. I must admit, my WLTP range is about an hour and 15 minutes. So the car is less important. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, it's really interesting for me to. I mean, I recommend everyone to go and check out the YouTube channel because it will open people's eyes, and it would be nice to see more of that happening here. Obviously, we do have restrictions here, and we do have problems insuring modified things and getting them registered and approved and everything else. But I think it's really nice to see EV being something other than sensible or eco-friendly or economical. I think it's great to see people having fun with their EVs and actually putting their own stamp on them.
And a lot of people, talking about Fellten, and we can talk about Hazelnut in a second, but everyone at Fellten comes from the traditional car world, driving, straight 6, V6, V8s. We all love driving. We all love cars, and that's why the company ended up being what it is. So you don't have to drive an EV because you're a tree hugger. You can become one as you drive an EV, but it's just so much fun. I mean, nowadays in the UK and in America, for about £20,000 or $25,000, you can have a very high performance, say Model 3 performance. And it's not even like a high mileage one, it's just a regular one. Yeah. And it will kill supercars. About a month ago, we were at Santapod at a content creator event organized by Petrolhedonism. And there was a Beetle, which was built by Richard at Electric Classic Cars, and it just killed everything. The next fastest car was a Plaid, Tesla Model S Plaid. And then we brought a couple of Tesla Model 3s. And then Lamborghinis, and then Ferraris, and then
yeah.
Porsches, and so on. So the funny thing is, the event was organized by petrolheads, which we include ourselves in.
Yeah.
But obviously, electric from 0 to 60, it's hard to beat an electric car, especially like a performance-oriented one. But again, we just get along with everyone. We just love cars in general. And if you love a classic car, and as you said, Jim, if the motor was rubbish to start with, like the classic Mini motor was never something super exciting,
Yeah.
you might as well bring it to nowadays technology, get way more power, way more torque, and still keep the feeling, the drive, the suspension from the original vehicle. So it is still the classic car it was. So there's two views on how to convert a car: is either to keep it slightly more powerful and a bit more torquey than the original one, or just to go full send and make it a beast. So you can do both. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it depends. If it's a Bentley, for instance, or like maybe a 60s Jaguar, you're better off just adding maybe 50% more torque and more power to keep all the feeling and driving and cruising ability of the car. But if you want to make it a rocket, you can also do it.
Yeah. No.
One point we haven't covered, and it's a key point, doing electric conversion is not cheap. So just like if you say you have a 65 Mustang and you want to put a Coyote engine with a modern transmission in it, it's going to cost you between 20 and say 45,000 pounds, depending how you make it to the standards you want. Doing an electric conversion will be roughly the same price.
Yeah.
At least the same price. So it's not something you do on a budget, even if you're like a skilled technician. The components themselves are quite expensive. So again, like when I started working in this industry, I was wondering why people would spend just as much on the conversion system as they would on the base vehicle. But that was 4 or 5 years ago. Nowadays, people will spend way more on the drivetrain than on the base vehicle, because at the end of the day, that's the vehicles they've loved, that's the vehicles they want to keep and drive moving forward, and it doesn't really matter if it costs twice as much as the base vehicle, because nothing really replaced this vehicle for them. So yeah, it's quite exciting. And obviously car enthusiasts or adventurers and overlanding enthusiasts converting their Defender, it doesn't really matter the way it's done, how much it costs, because the Land Rover, I was talking to someone yesterday converting their Series 1 for a big trip around the globe, and it was his dad's. So he wants to keep on running this Series 1, but he's not going to do it with the original petrol engine.
Yeah.
So here we go. Yeah, it brings those classic cars into the modern world. It also brings a younger audience, people that have no technical knowledge. They don't want to, tune a carburetor throughout the year as you drive or where you drive. They just want it to run, but they want the aesthetics, the coolness of a classic car, but it needs to work.
Yeah, some of these older cars for like younger people, they're hard to drive. So that makes a lot of sense, actually, what you say. So it's become a lot easier to drive, don't they?
I mean, that classic Mini is a great example, and that you had a car where, obviously, the original classic Mini has got something about it, and it's got that feel and everything else. But when you get in the car and suddenly it pokes you down the road, it's a different experience, but it's a very, very cool experience, and it just puts a different spin on this thing that we sort of, most of us know and love.
Yeah. And Alex, to put things in perspective, this classic Mini has traction control. It tells you how much spin it can bring. So yeah, it's it's 70 kilowatts, or roughly 100 horsepower in a classic Mini.
Wow, that's quite a lot.
It's quite a lot.
Yeah.
But it's only 5 kilos heavier than the ICE version.
It is the same weight as the original car with a full tank of petrol. Yes.
Wow.
Oh, it's the same.
Yeah, it's the same. Yeah.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
There you go. The 5 kilos may have been me.
It depends what you had for lunch.
I think there's still a dent in the roof where I got on and off Mr. Bean's chair. Literally, the roof just went dunk. And Chris kind of said, "Oh, don't worry about that." Bang.
Well, it says this because he did it before. So, that's it for the EV conversion. Well, check out Outrun on YouTube and also Hazelnut is just the different ways of converting classic cars. EV Builder's Guide, the print magazine in America, and Outrun, we cover also modified EVs. So it's mainly Teslas, but it can be also electric vans that have been converted to camper vans, any fun stuff out of the ordinary, which is interesting. So it can be performance-oriented, it could just be leisure-oriented. We've got Jeeps, Land Rovers converted to electric, and so on. So quite exciting.
Yeah, the electric camper van
channel.
Yeah, the electric camper van stuff makes loads of sense because I've stayed in a diesel one before, and you have to have the diesel heater on to keep warm. And if you can power that all from the big battery, like you can in a car with vehicle to load, for example, that's just mega. So
well, and it's almost an infinite loop because the traction battery can charge your leisure battery or the devices you use when you cook, for instance, if you use electric hobs.
Yeah.
But if you can have a solar panel. Most of them will have solar panel on the roof. And also when you stop at a campsite, you can charge either the leisure battery, the 12-volt system, or more and more specialists are working with campsites so they could charge some of the traction battery, which give or take, you could charge like a third of the traction battery every night, which, avoids stopping an extra stop to rapid charge. But most of the modern vans anyhow, they are CCS to charge fairly quick anyhow. So, and typically when you're in a camper van, you just take your time. So it's not really a big issue. Most of the modern vans, they will have like 150, 140, 150, 160 miles of range, which again, for a weekend toy is quite good.
Definitely.
Very much so.
Yeah.
What have you got coming up for the rest of the year, Jerome?
The rest of the year, it's already the second part of the year.
I know.
Indeed.
I know.
End of this month, so late July is the largest convention of the EV conversion industry in Denver. So Chris and I are going. We are both speaking. Richard at Electric Classic Car will be the main guest. So it's a big event. All the industry from the US gathers, and they bring all the vehicles. So it's really good to meet everyone once a year, if not more often, when you see them at other shows. But also it allows you to test new vehicles and also do a lot of content, obviously.
Yeah.
And the next key event, well, you've got all the Goodwoods and so on, where you always find a handful of converted to electric specialists. And then the big show later this year is the SEMA show. Again, a lot of converted to electric classic cars and modified EVs. Going to the SEMA show, I'll be driving with a group, again around Chiro and the Petroledonism gang, going through the United States, stopping at different events and location in support of a charity, the Make-A-Wish Foundation, which we'll support. And the vehicle will be then showed at SEMA and raffled off for the foundation.
Oh, fantastic.
And then that will be pretty much the end of the year. After November, there's nothing much happening in the event world, really.
Well, I'll see you at SEMA for sure.
Yes, you will.
And I don't know when this video is going out, but I'll hopefully run into you at Goodwood as well.
Yes.
We're going on Thursday. This video will probably come out after Goodwood. But,
yeah.
So forget that you've heard that, people.
Yeah.
But yeah, hopefully catch up there. Massive thanks for joining us on the podcast, Jerome.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much.
It's good to meet you.
When we spoke about potential guests, you were the first name on the list, because I just think
appreciate that. Yeah.
You've had and continue to have a very interesting career, and so enthusiastic about EV without being completely and utterly evangelistic.
Yeah.
So it's really great to have you on and to have someone that can, show people a whole different side of the industry, really. So hopefully people will dive into the YouTube channel and things and see some more.
You mentioned VinWiki earlier, and every time on the channel it says like EV evangelist or something like this.
Yeah.
But I've never actually talked about EVs on VinWiki. It's always about like big V8 cars,
Range
Land Rover
Rovers,
adventures.
yeah.
So next time I'll make sure to bring an EV story, an anecdote. Yeah, that'd be quite
For
good.
sure, 100%. Okay, great. Well, thanks for listening, everyone. Thanks for watching. If you're with us on YouTube, massive thanks again to Jerome for joining us. Alex, where can people find you?
They can find me at The Interface Cars on YouTube for my car reviews. A lot of EV content on there, but also some other stuff as well. And also theinterface.uk for the latest EV news.
And Jerome, give us your short list.
Well, shortlist will be Outrun, so it's Outrun _YT for the
Nice.
YouTube channel. EV Builder's Guide is just evbuildersguide.com. We forgot to mention Hazelnut, which I'm sure Chris will be talking about very soon.
Yes.
So is the man behind Hazelnut, which is a YouTube channel dedicated about everything around EVs, especially converting classic car into EVs. But also right now is building a transporter van with 1,000 horsepower using 2 large drive units, so Tesla Model S as performance drive units. So I do support the channel. I'm behind the camera most of the time and dealing with all the back office stuff, but it will be a very fantastic episode when he talks to you about it all.
Yeah, which is happening very soon, by the way,
Yeah.
folks. So
Yeah.
looking forward to that one. But yeah, thanks very much again. You know where to find me. I'm definitely Not Guru on YouTube or notaguru.co.uk. And subscribe, follow, like, share Charging Status EV podcast wherever you can.
Nice
Thanks,
one.
everyone.
Bye-bye.